You know, ladies and gentlemen, they say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Guess what? They're wrong. Because this old dog has learned many new tricks over the past 6 months. This old dog has learned many new tricks over the past few weeks. And this old dog learned a new trick just over the last 2 or 3 days. And it might be the trick, if you will, that opens the door to the highest and best for me for the rest of my life. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is New Cosmic Knowledge. And I come here as often as I can trying to help bring you some information that you might be able to use and leverage, hello, Catherine, to improve your life. And I don't care if you're old dog, young dog, or in-between dog. You can learn new tricks because it's a lot more about the dog than it is about the old. So trust me, Mystery Tracy, nice to see you folks. And I want to talk to you tonight about if you read the hello in Atlanta. So we have Atlanta, we have Beirut, we have Florida, and I can't remember where Tracy's from. Matt needs some wisdom going through a divorce. Well, sorry to hear that, Matt. And I'll try to do my best as everybody pours into the chat room. Nice to see you. I want to talk to you tonight about a higher calling, South Carolina, a higher calling in love and relationships. Travis Thorpe says the day we stop learning is the day we stop being human. Nice to see you, brother. Michelle Canham in the Midwest, Americus, Georgia. Ryan Lee, my brother, good to see you. Germany in the house, the Ozarks. I love it when people say where they're from. But a higher calling in love and relationships, come unto me, and I will give you rest. You've heard that scripture before, Arkansas. You've heard that scripture before. You probably think you know what it means, but I'll promise you that you really don't know what it means. Hello, Warrior Princess. You do not know what that scripture means. And Michelle Canham Free paused a Jeff video to go watch a live Jeff video. New Zealand, nice. Louisiana, great to see everybody here. New Zealand again, South Carolina again. Great to see all of you. So let's talk about this scripture, and I'm going to bring it up. And again, we're not really talking about the Bible, Syracuse, New York. We're talking about first century wisdom knowledge, some of it diamond, some of it dung. And we're talking about not so much the Bible, certainly not Christianity. We're talking about the message of the master. Somebody asked me, do you consider yourself a Christian? No, I don't consider myself a Christian. I don't consider myself anything. I resist labels. In fact, I zealously resist labels. So if you want to ask me if I'm a Christian, I'll tell you to get off my cloud. And the shirt is coming along, I promise you. So these are the words of the master, Jesus, the Lord, Yeshua, whatever you want to call him. He said, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, learn of me, for I'm meek and lowly in heart, and you'll find rest unto your souls. My yoke is easy, he said, and my burden is light. Now, I'll be frank with you, the real application, the top line application of this is he's talking to people that are weighed down by religious rules, religious regulations, religious ceremonies, religious requirements. He's saying, all of you that labor under religious requirements, all of you that are burdened down by religious requirements, come to me and I'll give you rest. He's saying, take my yoke, but this is where it changes a little bit. He's not just talking about religion, because then he says, take my yoke upon you. And a yoke is when you get two oxen together pulling in the same direction. Take my yoke, learn of me, be meek, be lowly in heart, and you'll find rest to your souls, because it's an easy yoke, it's a light burden. So he's talking initially about religion, but I'm telling you folks, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's not the first time. It likely won't be the last time, but I think I'm right on with this. I really do. Because he starts about religion, and the first part is specifically about religion, but it's also tying into a second part, which is talking about relationships. And specifically, I think, and this is just a DL, a download, he's talking about people that yoke up together to work together in service to others. So let's go to verse number 29, 28, 29. My fifth podcast of the day. It might have put a little strain on my voice, but that's okay. We'll get through it. 28, let's look at it in the original language. Come to me. Come hither. Come on. Come see me, says the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, right? The Master says, come to me. All of you. So, folks, this is for all of you. This is not for some of you. It's for the whole of you. This isn't for just one kind of you. It's for every kind of you. And can I just say, without anybody getting mad at me, the real God doesn't have a chosen people. People are the chosen people of the real God. Whole people, every kind of people, every kind of people. Forget this idea about chosen people. The real God doesn't choose among people. The real God says that they are not the respecters of persons. The real gods love everybody or don't love everybody, care about everybody or don't care about everybody in exactly the same fashion. So everybody is welcome to come. And he's specifically talking to those that are toiling, those that are growing weary, those that are putting out bodily and mental effort, those that are worn out, those that are depleted, those that are exhausted. And you can see how this applies to people in religion, doing everything they can to do everything they can because they want to make sure that they miss out on hell and they get to heaven, and you can't ever really know. So you keep doing and you keep doing and you keep doing and you keep doing, and you're never really sure, and you're just toiling. But some of you know what it's like to be in an intimate relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, husband, wife, and you feel like you're toiling. Probably mostly the girls, the ladies, growing weary, working with effort, bodily, mental labor. It's the guys too, the women and the guys. But what are you toiling from? What are you weary from? Well, you're being burdened. What does that mean? Somebody's putting a load on you. Somebody's putting a burden on you. Somebody is weighing you down. Overloading, packing somebody up, causing them to be literally weighed down. That's what the word means. Religion is famous for loading you up with a list of do's and don'ts. Religion is famous for loading you up with a list of fears and gonna get yous. They got a God that sees you when you're sleeping. They got a God that knows when you're awake. They got a God that knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. They got a God that's making a list. They got a God that's checking it twice. They got a God that knows if you've been naughty or nice, and the God himself is naughty. And he says he's coming to town. So you get literally overloaded. You get literally weighted down. And have you ever heard the term, the weight of expectations? So as we move from the religious burdens, let's think about and talk about and move into the relationship area where we're talking about being weighted down with the weight of expectations. And let's talk about having burdens that are put on you by your spouse, burdens that are put on you by your fiance, burdens that are put on you by your boyfriend, burdens that are put on you by your girlfriend. And let's think about the burden putter. There's the burden bearer, but the burden putter, the one who's loading up his or her significant other, is causing them to be literally weighted down. Do you really think that your significant other really wants to be weighted down? No, what they want is rest. What they want is peace. What they want is to take it easy. What they want is to chill out. They just want to take it easy. They want to be refreshed. Your intimate relationships, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiance, your husband, your wife, your long-term shack up mate, and I'm not against that, so You know I'm not. I'm doing it myself on the 25th, temporarily. But our relationships should be places of refreshment. Our relationships should be easy. But in the United States, in Western culture, all too often they're not. They're burdensome. And mainly because the weight of expectation. And mainly because the weight of expectation that comes from religion, which is what he was talking about at the beginning. Because not only does religion have a bunch of rules and regulations for how you live your life, of course they've got rules and regulations for how you behave within your intimate relationships. And if you're not married and you're engaged in sexual relationships, you got the guilt to go along with it too. You just got to forget that and move on. But I want you to feel guilty if you're in a mundane sexual relationship. I want you to feel guilty if you're in a mundane, profane sexual relationship. I hope you'll stop it. I hope you'll feel guilty enough to stop. I don't want to put guilt on somebody, but that's what it takes. But that's not what this podcast is about. It's about being burdened. It's about needing rest. And it's about taking the yoke. You know what a yoke is? A yoke is when you got two oxen that are pulling a cart or they're doing a job. That it joins two people to move and work together. Forget that as one because that's added by the translators. It joins two people to move and work together. So we're talking about relationships here. You've never seen that, have you? That's why I do what I do, and that's why you're here. Because not only does religion make you feel toiled and heavy and wore down, so does it when you're yoked together, united with a person to work together, and they still keep putting burdens and yokes and stuff on you that are just too heavy. So the master says, listen, I want you to learn from me. I want you to learn from me. I want you to gain some knowledge from me, some knowledge from experience, some knowledge from reflection. This is the Elohim telling you, hey, listen, I've got some stuff here to help you. I've been watching you folks since we created you. I've been gaining some facts and some knowledge. I've been watching your experiences and I've been reflecting on it. And I think I can help you with this situation. Learn from me. And he says, listen, I'm gentle. I'm not going to smash you. I'm not the God that's sitting up there waiting with the lightning bolt, just ready to throw it down at you. No, I'm mild. I'm gentle. I want to help a brother out. I want to help a sister out. I'm gentle. I'm humble. I'm in a good sense humble. I'm not going to smash you. I want to exalt you. I want you to have the relationship that's a fairy tale. I want you to have the relationship that serves you. And he's coming to you with his very heart, his very character, his very intention. And he's saying, listen, now you're weighted down. Now you're heavy. Now you're burdened. And I want to give you some of this. I want to give you some rest. I want to give you some rest. That's what the master says. And he shows us this in a very beautiful fashion. He's saying, listen, guys, you're laboring and you're burdened in your relationships, just like you are in religion, by the heavy weight of expectations from your partner, from your family, from all the pressures. It shouldn't be that way. I'm going to give you some rest because I know you're yoked up with this person and you're trying to do right. So I'm going to teach you a transformational message, and I'm coming to you from my heart. This is the master and the disaster that is me. And this will show you rest, because you'll find out that when you do it the right way, it's easy. When you do it the right way, it's light and it's fun and it's happy and it's fantastic. Here's the problem. You knew sooner or later I was going to bring out the whiteboard. You knew it was coming. So here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. The same guy that said, let me help you out, let me show you what's going on. In the beginning, He was one of the ones that made us male and female. That's the way it was in the beginning. Two separate, distinct, full people, yoked together, joined together, but not enmeshed like this. Because when you're up here, if you look at that, that man's given away like 40% of himself to that woman. That woman's given away like 40% of herself to that man. You're giving like 40% of your power away. And it creates this zone right here, which is really a zone of ego. It creates this zone right here. That is where ego gets going. That's where bad feelings get going. And this is where people start feeling like they're toiling. This is where people start feeling like they're carrying a burden, because she's carrying the burden of his expectations of her. Well, everybody knows that a girlfriend's supposed to do this. Everybody knows that a fiance is supposed to do that. Everyone knows that a wife is supposed to be doing this. So she's burdened. Not only is she given up some 40% of her power, but she's burdened by his expectations. And here's this poor guy over here. He's already given up 40% of himself, and he can't use that power for his own maintenance because he's got to give it up to her. Why? Because the church said, let the two become one flesh. The guy that made the church allegedly says, I made them male and female, but the church says, no, we don't like that plan. Let's let the two become one flesh, because they don't want you happy. They want you dependent. They don't want you independent. And this man's got to carry the weight of her expectations. Well, everybody knows a boyfriend's supposed to do this. Everybody knows that a fiance is supposed to do this. Everybody knows that a husband's supposed to do this or that or the other thing. But the reason that this zone is there is because it's a zone of ego. It's a zone of strife. It's a zone of toiling. It's a zone of burden. And it gives the enemy an opportunity to hack you, to hack your system. It's an interdependent system, isn't it? It's an interdependent system. This is an independent system. You can't hack here. There's a firewall all the way around each person. Here, you can hack it. You can get in. And this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the higher calling in love and relationships. This is the problem. It's broke. And you need to stop doing it. The problem is that the man puts expectations on the woman. The problem is that the woman puts expectations on the man. And the woman ends up doing things that she doesn't want to do just because the man wants her to do them. And the man ends up doing things that he doesn't want to do just because the woman wants him to do it. We're supposed to be divine, sovereign, and free. And a divine, sovereign, and free being doesn't do anything that divine, sovereign, and free being doesn't want to do. But yet, almost all of us within our relationships, me included until about 48 hours ago, come into these relationships with these expectations based upon our raising and our rearing and our cultural understandings. Well, you're my girlfriend and you're supposed to do this. Why aren't you doing this? You're my fiance and you're supposed to be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? You're my wife. You're supposed to be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? And conversely, you're my boyfriend. You're my fiance. You're my husband. Why aren't you doing these things? Everybody knows that they're supposed to be doing them. And when everybody knows something, that's when you know it's wrong most of the time. And of course, I got this revelation through Global Witness, and not just Global Witness, some other people. And I got it from the father and the mother, to be frank with you, and in no uncertain terms. What we really want is we want to find a partner that's going to let us continue to be divine, sovereign, and free. And Derek showed, I hate to erase this beautiful drawing, but here's what I want. And it's mainly for people that remember he said, yoked up together, and this is, I mean, if you're not yoked up together to be doing any work, if you're not trying to change the world, if you're not trying to be in service to others, you could probably go watch Jeopardy or something right now. But if you really want to change the world, I'm going to show you something. And I'll just talk about Sandra and I, because that's what I know best. And I'll just talk about me, because I know me best, and I like talking about me. So here is my world. Here's my calling. This is the NCK universe. This is me wanting to be of service to you. And this is why I get up in the morning. This is why I get up in the morning, so I can be of service to you. This is the whole thing of enlightening the whole world. This is the whole thing of bringing the whole world to the place that they can ascend. This is the thing of bringing this information to the whole world so that people can be divine, sovereign, and free. And to be honest with you, and I'm directly stealing this from Global Witness. If you watched our show last night, you'll remember Derek drew this little diagram. So if I'll be honest, and I'll draw it a little bit bigger because I've got a bigger ego than Derek. This is me. I want you to be able to see it. This is me and my part in that, doing my best to change the world. That's my part of trying to bring enlightenment to folks. That's my part. Right? And along about 6 months ago comes Sandra. And here's Sandra part. She says, you know what? I like what you do. I feel called to join you in your work. The cuter circle is Sandra. I want to join you in your work. I want to yoke up with you. Here's Sandra, divine, sovereign, free female, and pretend that there's a space in between, right? She says, I want to yoke up with you because I like this stuff that you're doing. I see the same burden. I have the same burden that you do. And I think that together we can do more stuff for people than either of us could do individually. And she's right. Are we better or worse since we got together? Are you getting more from Sandra since she got with me or before she got with me? Are you getting more from me before I got with Sandra or less from me? Is our stuff better when we're together or when we're apart? Yeah. But see, this is the way it works. All of this, it's all about doing the job, about serving others, right? Oh yeah, come up, snuggle with me, baby. Let's get yoked together. But then here's when things change. Thank you. It's unanimous. We're better together. But here's where things change. Yeah, when we're on camera together, it's great. When we're in counseling together, it's fantastic. When we're doing the work, couldn't be better. It's great. But sometimes when you're not on camera and you're in real world, sometimes the stupid man wants to go back to this thing and say, hey, wait a minute. We're not doing that anymore. We're not on YouTube anymore. Let's go back to this because this is what I'm used to. This is what I was raised on. I got some expectations, some things I want you to do, some things I want you to say, some things I want you to be. But she's like, whoa, wait a minute. I got with you because of this big thing. And I'm divine, sovereign, and free. I bought one of your shirts. Why do you want to take me back to this? This isn't divine, sovereign, and free. This is me stealing from you and you stealing from me. And this creates this aperture right here that the enemy can hack. This is unhackable. So real love, old habits do die hard, but they die. Even old dogs can kill old habits if they want to. So you realize that it's not just within the work that you remain divine, sovereign, and free. It's within the whole relationship that you remain divine, sovereign, and free. And the reality of it is that the minute I start putting an expectation on Sandra that I want you to do this. She says, well, you know, I don't really feel like doing that. Yeah, but I want it. And I'm your fiance, so I want you to do it. She's like, well, okay. So she's doing it, but she's not liking it. She's not feeling it. It's a burden, isn't it? Oh, you know what? I want you to do this other thing too, because that's what fiancés do. But I don't really feel that. Well, yeah, but you're my fiance. You got to do it. And before you know it, Sandra is burdened down. She's weak. She's heavy laden with the weight of my expectations. And it could work the other way around too. And it sometimes does, but mainly it was my thing. So it's very, very hard. But to go to a higher calling in relationships, we have to remain at all times, and we have to allow our partners to remain at all times. You have to remain divine. You have to remain sovereign. You have to remain free. You have to remain free of expectations. You have to remain free of burdens. And we've only been doing it a couple of days, and I'll be frank with you, it was my issue. But when you don't have, you know, the weight of expectations, when you don't have the weight of expectations, the person that you're putting the expectations on is glad the weight is gone. But guess what? You're also glad the weight is gone. Because you either do what you say that you want to do, you either be who you say that you are, or you don't. And if you're a guy that sells shirts that say, I'm divine, I'm sovereign, I'm free, you better damn well let people be divine and sovereign and free. And if you can't, you need to realize that you're wrong and you need to do some work. What we have to do is completely throw away, obliterate, and destroy all of the preconceived perceptions that we have about what a wife is supposed to do, what a husband is supposed to do, what a fiance is supposed to do, what a boyfriend's supposed to do, what a girlfriend's supposed to do. And if you love somebody enough to spend the rest of your life with them, you've got to love them enough to let them be divine and sovereign and free, and don't make them do anything they don't want to do. And if you can't do that, then you're not ready to be with that person. Period. You're not ready to be with any person. Because the only way for you to really get yoked up, especially if you're yoking up to work together in service to others, is to make that burden as light as possible, to make that yoke as light as possible. And the reason that the master said the yoke is easy and the burden's light is because all the yoke is an agreement. All the yoke is an agreement. An agreement that, yes, we're going to work together, we're going to share our lives together, and we're going to be together because of this great work. Where in the other way, there actually is a physical yoke. I don't even know if this pen writes. I just use it as an eraser. In the other way, there is actually a physical yoke. It's supposed to be halfway through the circles to be mathematically accurate. I don't know if we're halfway through those or not. But there's literally a yoke there. It's like 40% of your energy being given to the other person. There's a 40% opening or aperture through which the enemy can cause the fights and the arguments and the bad sex and the bad feelings and the jealousies and the insecurities. And then it starts, oh, let me talk to him. That's not my husband. Let me talk to her. That's not my wife. And then all of a sudden you got cheating and the whole thing goes to hell. This is a heavy burden. This is a heavy yoke. It even looks heavy. Look at that. It just wants to pull you down. It's the evil eye from the enemy. If you, dude, love her, stop doing that to her. If you, chick, love him, stop doing that to him. But that's the way it's supposed to be. No, it's not. It's the messed up, big time religion, fear, and guilt control matrix telling you that's the way it's supposed to be. Because guess what? They want your relationship in the fear and guilt control matrix too. In the beginning, they were made male and female, and they were divine, sovereign, and free. And every now and then, two of them decide, you know what, let's get together and let's be part of doing this great work of changing this world. And this is just like a little bitty section of it, right? That thing that we showed before. This is the great work going on out here. Let's yoke up and do the great work together. Cool, let's do it. Just let me stay divine, let me stay sovereign, let me stay free, and I'll stay right by your side. And we'll be much better together than we were separately. And we'll get a lot of things done in changing this world. Just don't do this to me. Deal? Deal. But that means I don't get to tell her that I wanted to do this every morning. That means that I don't get to tell him I want him to do that every afternoon. This means that I can't always have her there, or I can't always have him. I got to let him do and let him be. That means I can't always be up in his business. That means I can't always be up in her business. And the only way to make this work is if, before you ever meet this girl, you got to be happy with who you are, dudes. And before you ever meet this guy, you got to be happy with who you are, girls. Because if you're not happy with who you are, he's definitely not going to be happy with who you are. And if you're not happy with who you are, bro, she's definitely not going to be happy with who you are. That's why you remember 7-8 months ago, I was saying, I found the one and I'm him. Remember that? I'm never getting married again. I'm going to sit in this trailer and do this work. I finally got to the place where I was okay with my company. I finally got to the place where I was really divine, I was really sovereign, I was really free. Sandra got to the same place. All of a sudden we bumped into each other and it's like, whoa. I like what you do. Ooh, I like what you do. Let's do it together. We'll be really good. Okay, sounds great. And then all of a sudden, Southern born and bred Confederate gentility Jeff says, oh, sweetheart, we're supposed to be doing things this way because down here in the South, a lady knows how to do this and a lady knows how to do that. She's like, wait a minute, I'm from Massachusetts. We don't have that up there. You don't got to open every door. You don't got to carry every bag. I want to do some of my own stuff. But I'm the man. Why won't you let me open the door? Ego, pride. What do you mean you want to carry a bag of groceries? I can carry it. I'm telling you, folks. If she wants to carry the groceries, let her carry some groceries. If she doesn't want you to open her door all the time, don't open it. Women, if he doesn't want to zip up your dress all the time, well, that would never happen. If he doesn't want to do something, don't make him do it. If he wants to sit over there and read his book, let him sit over there and read his book. You sit there and read your book. Derek had a really good explanation. He said that him and Malia will sit there and she'll be reading a book. He'll be reading a book. And she'll walk out sometimes after reading the book. And he's like, but I wanted to know what she thought about the book. So he doesn't say, Malia, everybody knows that when you're reading a book and you walk out of the room, you should tell your partner what you thought of the book. Everybody knows that. A weight of expectation. And she would probably say to him, what do you mean everybody knows that? Everybody knows that I can read a book and walk away. I don't have to tell you nothing. And that's where this happens. Sandra gets out of the bed, doesn't kiss me good morning. I'm like, what are you doing? I got a right to get kissed good morning. Since when? I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Oh, no, no, you got to kiss before you go. Weights of expectation. I'm not doing that. Well, why won't you do that? Weights of expectation, ego, fear. Oh, she didn't kiss me. She must not love me. She didn't tell me what the book said. She must not love me. No, she just was reading her own damn book and didn't feel like telling you about it right then. So that doesn't mean that you don't ever have this intimacy. Like Derek said the other night, you can lead gently. You can allow divinity, sovereign, and freedom to reign. And he said, like, Malia would walk out, didn't say anything about her book, and he went out and said, you know, if you'd ever like to share your impressions of what you read, I'd be happy to listen. And boom, they're talking about the book just like he wanted to talk about the book. Because Malia got to be divine, sovereign, and free, got to read her book, and got to walk out the door without worrying about Derek. Well, I pointed at the wrong one because M for Malia, but you know, without Derek whining like a baby. How come you don't want to even talk to me about what you read? And when Sandra gets up and has to take care of some business, and Jeff doesn't whine like a baby, why did you kiss me? And you walk out and she says, oh, I forgot to kiss you. Come over here, and you get a real good kiss. It's because you avoided this and stayed in this. I'm telling you, men, if you're trying to yoke up with a woman to get some stuff done for the world, it's going to be a strong woman. And she wants to be divine. She wants to be sovereign. She wants to be free. And saying no to the old enmeshment paradigm, saying no to the old overlapping paradigm is the new paradigm and the new step up in relationships. And what you will find as you do this, and we've only been doing it a couple days, and by we, I mean me, because I'm the one that had the problem with it. What you'll find is that when you allow each person to remain divine, sovereign, and free, here's what happens. You start getting this energetic emanation that engulfs you and wraps around you. And it just feeds back upon itself. It's called a torus. And all of a sudden, it's this beautiful, creative, powerful energy. And it creates you to be better at the work. It creates you to be better to each other. And it creates intimacy. Did I mention it creates intimacy? It creates intimacy in all areas. Wink, wink, nod, nod. It really is what you want. This is the lie. This tries to tell you that it can give you this, but this can't give you that because this is ego, this is fear, and this is an opening for the enemy to nail you right here. What you want is this torus. I should have drawn it green. That's what you want is the torus. That's what you want is the mutual energy. That's what you want is the exchange. And when someone feels divine, sovereign, and free, they're like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever been a part of. Let me give even more. Let me be even better. And then all of a sudden it just starts going and going and going and going. And it's circulating, it's circulating, it's circulating. And all of a sudden you're like, damn. Happily ever after is real. Damn, there are some fairy tales. And damn, doesn't she look good? Damn, doesn't he look good? Damn, we're doing a lot of service to others. Let me do a little service to him. Oh, we're doing a lot of service to others. Let me do a little service to her. And it just is a mutual, and it's just, this is what you really want. This is a lie. This will work forever. It's self-perpetuating. This will work only for a little while until one of these people says, the hell with it, I'm done. Wow. This is the new paradigm of love and relationships. This is the old crap. We don't want it anymore. We don't want it anymore. We don't want the evil eye anymore. That's the new paradigm, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it was in the beginning. And it feels so much better to not have the weight of expectations. It feels so much better not to have the burden. Wendy says the overlap of the two circles is where the disharmony, is where the confusion, is where the negative energies are. And this is the area that sucks the energy out of your life and your relationship. It's that overlap. Overlap is where divorces come from. Overlap is where fights come from. Overlap is where cheating comes from. Look at this. This maintains a place where enemies can come in. Cheaters, emotional affairs, sexual activity. I hate this guy. I hate this girl. It can come in. But when you're doing this, you got this, you literally got a force field, this toroidal force field. Not only in here is it getting more intimate and 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 more intimate. And man, she's looking good. Man, he's looking good. Wow, we're doing good. Boom, boom, boom. It's just, it gets better and better and better. And it's a force field. And you can have all these enemies trying to come at you. They're trying to shoot at you. Boom. They hit the force field. It can't get in. Here's another enemy trying to come in and chat up your girl. Can't get in. Spiritual enemy trying to put in, somebody sending a nasty email about, oh, Jeff sucked. Derek's an ass. Can't get in. Because it's a force field. It's a literal, powerful force field. And this, you just got to get rid of it. It's wrong. We've been down too long. We've been captive too long, ladies and gentlemen. Can we just erase this from our memories? Can we just erase this from our lives? And the good news is, it's not too late for your relationship. If he's still there, if she's still there, there's still hope. Download. I don't like Paul, but he stole some good stuff every now and then. He said to take up the shield of faith. Take up the shield of faith. When you got people yoked, when you got people overlapped, you remember this one? I don't want to draw it again, but I'll draw it right here. When you got people overlapped, right? That's ego, that's mistrust, that's worry, that's expectation, right? There's no shield there, but this makes a energetic toroidal shield. And the shield is able to quench every fiery dart of the enemy. Every fiery dart of the enemy. You're impervious to it. You will find yourself not even arguing, not fighting, because the force field's up. And inside the force field, the intimacy just builds and 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 builds. Spiritual intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy. And outside, let the fiery darts of the enemy come. Let them throw their best at you. They can't penetrate you. It's able to quench every fiery dart of the enemy. This is the shield. And it's the shield of faith, because this right here, there's no faith. There's only worry. Oh, you got to do this because every fiance does that. And if you don't do that, I'm not going to be safe. This is faith. You be you, wholly, completely, and totally you. I'll be me, wholly, completely, and totally me. And I trusted you enough to marry you. So I have faith that you'll be what you said you are. I have faith that you'll do what you said you'll do. And I watch how we work together, so I know I can trust you. That's a shield of faith. And that shield of faith is able to quench every fiery dart of the enemy. And that one is not a shield, and you've got enemies from within. Dude, if you've got this thing going on, and you get shot at from within, you're going down. And that is designed to start dropping stuff, writing on myself. This is designed to start fights from within. That's the reason they want the two to become one flesh. Because they know if you get like this, what a mess we got going on here. If you get like this, sooner or later, this is going to start fights. Sooner or later, you're going to start shooting at each other from within. And everybody knows from close range, you don't even have to be a good shot. You're going to land a lethal blow. You're going to land a lethal blow. And this whole thing is going to collapse. Maybe this is why 54% of marriages in the church die. Maybe this is why over 50% of marriages outside the church die. This one, the shields are up. There you go. That's all I got. But that's pretty good. I know it because I'm living it. I know it because I've watched other people live it. And I know because I've tried it the other way and it don't work. I wish Sandra was here because I know what she'd say. She'd say maybe, she always says this, and this time she'd mean it. She'd say, the fourth time is the charm. Good thing that's not vodka, huh? I don't drink any alcoholic beverages, so it's just a little joke. They want us vulnerable. In Christianity, women are taught to submit, and men must manage his woman and his house. Exactly. And that bleeds over into us that have been raised in a Christian culture. Marriage is a form of agreement, a covenant. Yeah, the agreement is we're going to work together. I'm going to be me, and you're still going to be you. Don't lose yourself. Agreeing with what you're saying, Jeff. Thank you. It's wrong to burden others with your expectations. Of course it is. It makes perfect sense. Wondering how many relationships have ended due to expectations. Everyone. Every single relationship that's ever ended has ended because of expectations, the weight of expectations. Now, sometimes the expectation was, I didn't expect her to sleep with that other dude. Sometimes the expectation is, I didn't expect him to sleep with my sister, but it is an expectation. That's, a little bit funny and kind of extreme. But every relationship that ever ends with expectations. I got tired of him always complaining about me not doing this. She was sick and tired of his expectations. I just could not handle her nagging me anymore. He was sick and tired of her expectations. Everyone, every single one, every relationship that ever ended due to bad expectations. You've discovered why the master said that he would not marry or be given in marriage. The master did not say that. Paul said that, the phony master. And it's funny that Paul said that because it's within marriage, and this is my personal opinion. Feel free to take it or disregard it, but it comes from 38 years of spiritual experience, for what that's worth. The best way for you to be the most effective and the most creative is this right here. Even the master said, 2 are better than 1. 1 can chase 1,000, but 2 can chase, I think it was 10,000. Would you rather chase 1,000 or 10,000? I'll wait. I'll take a drink. You do the math. Let me know what you come up with. Oh, you'd rather chase 10 than 2? Okay, I'm with you. That's why Paul didn't want you getting married, because he would rather only have to worry about you chasing 1,000 than 10,000. Very interesting. Makes a lot of sense. Of course it does. These relationship expectations are bondage because they're meant to be. They're mental viruses that we get infected with, and we want to infect other people with them. And they're just as dangerous as STDs. They're spiritually transmitted diseases, and they're just as dangerous as the sexually transmitted diseases. So I say not a great point, Steve, but I appreciate you making it. Brilliantly put. Well, thank you. Whiteboard envy. Derek has a much better whiteboard than I do. Better, 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 better. Of course we're better. Love a double yoke. Will never again be in an intimate relationship where I can't work with the partner. Good for you, Wendy. Don't settle for less, girl. Old habits die hard, but they do die. Trust me. Mine are dead. This old dog has learned some new tricks, so retire that one too. Sandra and Jeff are beautiful together. She's beautiful all by herself. See, I was making a little joke, being a little silly, but it's true. Sandra and Jeff are beautiful together. They're even beautiful when they're in that yoked up thing for a little while. But Sandra and Jeff are really beautiful together when they're beautiful individually. When the full beauty of Sandra shines through and the full beauty of Jeff shines through, that's where we're really beautiful. And that's where you see that. That's what you guys see on these shows that we do together. You see this toroidal field swirling. And you're like, wow. They got it good. Wow, they are really into each other. Wow, they're really good because you're seeing that toroidal field. That's what you're seeing. And it is really good. I'm kind of new to commenting, new to listening. Just want to say hi. Well, hi there. This is awesome, says Nancy. I listened to the show the other night. As Derek said he'd be there. I'm so glad I did. And I'm so glad that you did. These are stone cold facts. I agree. You don't truly love anyone unless you're allowing them to experience their own freedom, create their own dreams, and fulfill their own intentions. And you have to get true love. And I always say it, but I just recently started living it. True love is wanting the best for the other person, regardless of how it affects you. You shouldn't want someone to do something they don't want to do. And I've said this for years. I used to say, don't get saved because you think I'm right. Get saved because you think that you believe it's for you. I've said 1,000 times, I'm not your, don't be your own guru, God, your own spirit, master your own ascension. Why does that come to a screeching halt when you get into a relationship? Oh, no. Now you got to do, now you got to be, you got these expectations. No, I don't want Sandra to do one thing that she doesn't want to do. I don't want Sandra to say one thing she doesn't want to say. I don't want her to feel one thing she doesn't have to feel. And can I give you a little secret? Can I give you a little secret? If you give your spouse the gift of allowing them to remain divine, sovereign, free, and whole, you're going to get way more than you could ever get by trying to force your expectations on a person. Because when a person feels like, wow, this dude, and I'm talking dude because I'm a dude, this dude doesn't put any burden on me. This dude doesn't put any expectation on me. This dude really, he says he wants to love me and to help me. He says love means that he wants the best for me regardless of how it affects him. And you know what? He means it. And he's looking really good right now. Even if you don't look that good, he means it. He really does want the best for me. And he doesn't care how it affects him. He wants me to be divine. He wants me to be sovereign. He wants me to be free. Oh, come here, baby. I'm just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that's the way it really works. Nancy, thank you. She says the Father's words are confirmed in you, blessings and love. Thank you. If you love someone, set them free. If you love someone, don't ever put them in bondage. Don't go there. If you love someone, don't ever put them under the weight of your expectations. If you love them, set them free. No. See, that's our messed up mind. If you love someone, don't ever put them in a trap that they need to be set. Oh, I set her free. Well, you've trapped her in the first place. Don't do that. Break the chains. Why put the chains on? Don't go there. How many minutes have you been sharing, Jeff? And 5 years of counseling never explained relationship work to me like this. Well, thank Derek. Thanks, Sandra. I milk a lot of cows, but I make my own butter. And I did not call Sandra a cow. I didn't. Sandra's got the grocery guns. She doesn't have guns. She's just very fit. She's very feminine. She doesn't look like she's a bodybuilder, but she's, yeah, she has very feminine guns. I wouldn't call them guns, just perfect, 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 perfect. The most beautiful woman in the world. There's no doubt about it. Sorry, Derek, you're wrong. I'm glad I've got you cracking up. I just got a text from Derek that said I'm laughing my ass off right now. This is good stuff. If Sophie wants to do algebra on Saturday afternoon, she could, and not watch TV if she was in the right relationship. Expectations equal control equals misery, which equals gone sooner or later. Insecurities will wreck a lot of shit. Be secure in who you are and let her be secure in who she is. Wendy says, I don't need a man to open the door. Is that Sandra? Oh my. The overlap of two circles creates the disharmony, confusion, and sucks the energy out of your life force. It is the black hole, isn't it? It's the black hole that sucks everything into it and ruins everything. Gonna rewatch. Good. All righty. I think we're at the end of it. If I ever get into a relationship, says Warrior Princess, I'll be ready. The person that you get in a relationship with will be very fortunate, Warrior Princess. You're a saint of a lady. She does have great arms. She's got great everything. Come on, let's just be honest. I saw something here I wanted to comment on. Oh, well. Oh, there's Derek. I didn't see you, Derek. Invasion of sovereign space causes a withdrawal from the invader. Freedom to be sovereign causes complete openness. If Derek would have come at the beginning of the show, it could have lasted 5 minutes. Wow, that's great. Invasion of sovereign space. Invasion of sovereign space does call a withdrawal from the invader. Freedom to be sovereign causes complete openness. Good stuff. That's why he's got double the amount of subscribers that I do. Well, this is good stuff. And this really is a higher calling in love and relationships. Come unto me and I will give you rest. And brother, when you can say that and really mean it to your woman, baby, come unto me and I'll give you rest. Wow. And ladies, when a man says that to you, whoo. Men, when your woman says, come here, baby, I'll give you rest. Ah, it doesn't get any better than that. And when you get yoked together and you start doing a work together, you can reach the world, change the world. That's why I think we're going to win. That's why I'm optimistic, ladies and gentlemen. And that's it. That's a higher calling in love and relationships. It's very easy to do. You just have to commit to it. Oh, look who's here. We haven't seen him in a while. Let's go ahead and introduce you to the new. Some of you have never seen the new Cosmic Kitten. Here he is. Rooney Tooney, the new Cosmic Kitten, the official co-mascot. I don't see Callie here, but this is the new Cosmic Kitten. Rooney. Rooney, you look like you need some loving. Come here. I did invade his sovereign space, but I think he's okay with it. That's Rooney, the new Cosmic Kitten. It's been a while. The people have missed you. How come you've been holding out? You want to say anything? Mwah. All right, pussy kitten, go on. Okay. That's interesting. Be divine, be sovereign, be free. Create yourself. If you want some help, Sandra and I can help you out. serpentdove.org. rawreflections.org, jeffreydarty.com. In the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, it's the Not Your Normal Sunday show with Wayne Steiger and myself. Monday, we've got the Last Stand with Jay Campbell. He wants to get Derek on. That's kind of late. I don't know if that'll happen. I've got Sunday night, Heidi Vandenberg. She's going to do some Vedic readings. I'm going to do some Cards of Truth readings. We'll be doing those live. Monday, Halo Marquise, CEO of the MYSTECH bracelets. Magenta Pixie on the 20th. A lot of good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We're the last generation of real humans. Let's get busy. We're in the world-changing business. And cousin, business is a booming.